Today I'm talking to you about my favorite lenses for portrait sessions. We're here today at the Apple Store in Paris. The Apple Store has a pool. You can go for a swim before buying your Apple products if you want. And with me today I have the Nikon 85mm S lens as well as my Nikon Z6. Richard and Riley are going to arrive. And as you can see, there's nobody really around here because we're here in the morning. So if you ever want a good tourist location, iconic tourist location, to yourself, to a couple, just wake up earlier than everyone else because nobody gets here until like 10 in the morning. So right now we're gonna go do some photos and get the place to ourselves. All right. Here's the deal. I'm gonna show you all the photography right now, and then at the end, I'm gonna show you all the images. And the main lens that I'm using, or the main lens that I use, with the exception, I guess, of this exact moment, I'm actually using the 35mm lens at this point because there's just so much goodness in the frame that I want to capture. But usually the only lens that I use if I go out to do a couple style session like this, or if I'm doing a session just with a single human being, or even a family session with maybe up to 5 or 6 people, the only lens that I actually use is an 85mm prime. If I'm using my Nikon Z6, I'm using this 85mm 1.8 S lens. And if I'm using my digital SLR, my Nikon D780, which is what I'm going to be using over this season, I will be using the 85mm f1.4 G lens. And you might be asking yourself, why do you use prime lenses that don't zoom? Why don't you just use a 24-70 and you can just get everything with one single lens? The main reason for me is that I just really love good depth of field. I like that really shallow, crisp depth of field. And I feel like it works really well for portraits. And I'm rarely, if ever, shooting in such perfect conditions like this that I can actually go a little bit more into an f4 or an f8 to actually get more of the scene in focus. Usually I'm in situations where I want to involve the background, but I want to involve it in a way that it doesn't show all the detail of everything that's going on back there. It makes my post-production a heck of a lot faster, and just the images just feel a lot better and more professional and more aesthetically pleasing. The 50mm lens is also a fantastic option for portraits. The issue with me is that I am a quiet, introverted, shy human being, and I just have my comfort zone at that 85mm distance. I can just create better work, and also with that kind of comes the depth of field. The negative that comes with that, though, is that you feel a little more disengaged from the scene. So if you're shooting with something like a 35, you are very clearly part of the scene, and you're still getting that nice shallow depth of field, but at 85, you're getting something a little bit different. So I like to shoot primarily, I'd say 85% of the day on the 85mm lens, and in a situation like this, maybe the remaining 15% on the 35mm lens. The images you're seeing right now are they're not retouched as much as I usually would. I just want to show you more of the kind of the straight out of camera colors. But with that said, it was a pretty crazy kind of sunrise that the colors were a little bit challenging in the morning. So I corrected a little bit, but I didn't want to process it to a point that you couldn't see kind of how the lenses play in this environment. Thanks for watching, and if you did not yet see the Paris episode of our show, there's a link in the description below, and you can click to it, and you can watch the Paris video where we do all the Paris things with our Nikon Z camera. Thanks for watching. See you next time.